Hello, Night Nation. I'm Trace Trelko, joined by Adam Eaton. Welcome in to Sons of UCF Live. Adam, I sure did miss you on Sons of UCF Live.
Oh,
you do so many things. You do so many things for this show. I missed you.
I just push all the buttons and make all the magic happen. But it's good to be back. Thanks to Elo for filling in for a week. Glad to be back this week. Glad to start talking some UCF again. Summer's here. We're gonna have to find some content, but I'm excited to begin the process of dissecting the most minute things we can find at UCF athletics.
That is for sure. We certainly have quite a few mailbag questions, so people are anxious. I don't know. What is the most difficult month? Is it June or July? Because things start getting going in August, right? But we're still talking baseball now. It's still early in June. July.
That's by far. Yeah, it's July, and that's the month of top 5 lists about your hot dog condiment month. I mean, it's July, hands down.
How many condiments are there for a hot dog?
Mustard, ketchup, relish, onions, peppers. It's 5 right there,
peppers?
Right? Sport pepper, Chicago, baby.
Chili.
Thought you were a Cubs fan. You don't know about sport peppers?
I am. Yeah, I'm not a big fan of the Chicago.
Celery salts? No?
But, I guess there's more than 5.
So. I would assume so. Chilies.
But we'll save that.
Bacon.
For July.
Check back July 7th.
Bacon.
Oh, yeah. Throw some bacon on there.
No.
Pork on pork, baby.
We usually lead with football year round, every show. It's a natural. But I got to talk about this. I don't like to get into the hopium on any sport. I like to stay grounded. It keeps my expectations from. But this men's basketball team.
Yeah.
They started to get me a little bit of hope here. Center Mustafa Thiem, I guess, is his last name. We'll get a better pronunciation when he's on board. The roster officially reclassifies. Joining the Knights now, 2024-2025. He's just 7'2". Attended the DME Academy, Daytona Beach. Top-ranked center for the class of 2025. We'd seen all of the previous signees and kept saying they need a little bit of hype. They got their hype.
5-star recruit to your point, Trace. 7'2". They don't grow 7'2" guys on trees. That's a unique feat. And again, shout out to Mamadou Njai, who is on the staff, who I think has a lot of ties with some of these big men. And I don't know that you have a lot of college basketball coaches that can teach post play like UCF has. That's a kind of a unique skill set, kind of a lost art. So to your point, we needed some size on the inside. It's a lot to put on the shoulders of a true freshman, though, Trace. I feel a little bit badly for Mustafa because there's going to be a lot of expectations. 5-star for UCF. I haven't seen the rankings. Is he the highest recruit ever? Does he outrank?
I think so.
Taylor Hendricks?
I think so.
On the star. So a lot of pressure on this kid, and there's going to be a lot of eyes on him. But to your point, you can see the pieces coming together a little bit, Trace. You can kind of, if you really want to see it, you can see the pieces coming together for Johnny Dawkins and that night staff.
20-game schedule now. Oklahoma, Texas leave. You bring in Arizona State, Colorado, and Utah. 20-game schedule. It's just murderer's row every week, but going to be a competitive roster. And expectations are now going to go through the roof for Johnny Dawkins in year 2 in the Big 12. Certainly has reshaped the roster in a relatively short period of time.
I mean, the new era of college basketball is how quickly can these guys all gel together, right? Like they're gone are the days of guys playing together for 2-3 years. They know each other. They know where where they like to catch the ball. They know where they like to come off screens. How quickly can this roster gel together? I think you saw last year with the roster Johnny had, they were able to get together pretty quickly. And I think you saw the success from that. So A, how quickly does the roster come together? B, how much do these parts complement each other? I think last year you had a lot of guys who complement each other really well off the ball, passing, slashing to the hoop, rebounds. How quickly do these guys gel together? I bring you back to the 2020, 2021 era where Darius Perry and Brandon Mahan fought for who could shoot the most, right? You don't need that kind of style of offense there. So how quickly can these guys gel together and how well do they complement each other? You got to hope that Johnny's figured that out and he has an understanding based on the guys he's brought in. But again, if you really want to see it, Trace, if you squint, you can see the possibility of this being a team that maybe tournament. Maybe.
Oh, I can't.
I said maybe. I
can't.
All right,
some maybe. Tournament.
I said maybe.
NIT tournament. That one's not going to please anybody. But all right. So a little bit of hope in June. 7'2" center gives you some hope as Johnny Dawkins remakes his roster. I was out at UCF earlier in the week to interview softball head coach Cindy Ball Malone, which you can find on our YouTube channel. We'll run a soundbite from that later on. And I caught progress out at the practice fields. Let's see a little of that videotape. Sod sex.
Can we? I really quickly. I kind of want to be the guy off the left-hand side. Hold on. He's just standing there. He's not doing anything. I don't know what I kind of want that job. I've said that my next career, I want to be a job where I have to whisper, i.e. a librarian or golf announcer. I may want that guy's job because he's just watching the sod machine. I feel like I'm uniquely.
Technically, so was I.
Well, fair. You're not on the payroll though. I feel like I'm uniquely qualified to help out. And Matt, he maybe has a rake. I can hold the rake too. Don't you worry about that.
That is the new practice field coming together next to the other practice field, and then it'll.
Did you see anything?
Set forth in motion. Nothing else is happening.
Any lazy river in sight?
No lazy river. No,
not even water. Not even a bucket of water. Nothing.
But it's not that time where we're watching paint dry. We're watching grass grow, Adam. It's that time of year. You missed last week. You had predicted, I can't remember what you predicted on the polling for the offensive line, satisfaction with the offensive line. I thought you said it'd be a yes, like 50, 54, 46 or something like that. No, narrowly beat yes. So polled on the defensive line this week. Back to the normal pattern now, 75, 25, 76, 24. People satisfied with the defensive line. So far, most concern about the offensive line. We're into defense now. You feel pretty good about the emerging talent on the defensive line in year 2 for the Knights in the Big 12.
Yeah, I think that first rotation and a half is probably really good for UCF. So the first 6 guys that are probably going to be in that rotation, I think you feel good about. When you look at Lee Hunter, Ricky Barber, Malachi Lawrence, John Walker, I think you feel good about those guys. The rest of the guys, I mean, there's talent there. There's talent from other schools, and Dalen Dotson, Derek LeBlanc coming in. He hasn't played a ton. So I think the first 6 I feel good about. 7 through whatever that number is, that's where it's going to be important in the Big 12. You need that depth to be able to cycle guys in and out. So are guys like Matthew Alexander, guys like Jamal Johnson, guys like Isaiah Nixon, are they going to be ready now? Have they bulked up their body? Have they gotten in enough strength and stamina? Are they going to be able to compete? Not that they're not good players, but are they going to be ready to face the Big 12, gauntlet, as you will, on the football side? I think that's where the questions are. So I agree with yes. I wouldn't have gone 75 though. I'd have been more of in the 57, 58 range.
Who are you most excited to see develop and just really emerge in the second year in the Big 12? For me, it's John Walker. I just want to see what this guy can do.
Well, I mean, that's the obvious answer, so I'll go different. I'll go Malachi Lawrence. You saw flashes of what he could be. It's been a long time since UCF's had a pass rushing specialist. I mean, you can talk about Shaquem Griffin, but he was technically a linebacker. Sort of the front 4. Do we harken back to like Bruce Miller? Was that like the last front 4 like pass rushing specialist UCF's had? And so can Malachi Lawrence develop into that? Does Ted Roof's system allow for that to happen? So I think John Walker's a great answer, but give me Malachi Lawrence. Can he kind of be that guy to, dare I say, double-digit sacks? Dare I say, I don't know if we've had that since Shaquem, right? So dare I say double-digit sacks? Can he develop into that guy?
At this level now, the Big 12, it's how they play along the offensive and defensive lines, right? And whether they have, you mentioned the depth there. Do they have that too deep that you can count on as you rotate guys in and out? And they got bullied a lot throughout the first season in the Big 12. The physicality kind of overwhelmed them at times. You saw how teams ran right at them. And I know that wasn't all on the defensive line, but you got to see progress there if the Knights are going to be a contender. And I think there's some skepticism. You see this in various rankings and college football media have UCF middle of the pack. And that certainly goes against the grain of what most Knights fans seem to be thinking in 24.
Yeah, I just saw our friend Kelly Ford had his projections out as UCF, I think 4.9 conference wins. So 5 conference wins out of 9 games. So, I mean, it's right in the middle of the pack.
How do they do on the road?
Yep. I think that's a huge, but you're absolutely right. I think it's the stamina piece that really hurt UCF last year. Maybe no coincidence, new strength and conditioning coach trying to get these guys into a better physical shape, or, stronger, whatever that looks like too. But again, it's how quickly can some of these other guys develop? How quickly can some of these younger guys develop, get the weight on them, get the reps on them, be able to take sort of the pounding of the Big 12? Some of UCF's best D lines, we used to joke all the time back in 19 and 20 about kind of the hockey line change, right? 4 guys in, 4 guys out. You didn't see a ton of that last year. When you did, you kind of held your breath a little bit because you weren't sure if some of these guys were ready. I think the more you can get, big physical guys up front on both sides of the ball, I think UCF obviously takes advantage of that.
Very interesting. You and Mike back together this week on the pod. You've had a UCF, I know, Panthers Mike or whatever. I'm waiting for him to go back. I don't even recognize that name when it pops up.
It takes me a minute too. I always type UCF Mike in Twitter. Yeah.
You've been on a run now of former walk-ons who went scholarship, right? You had Al Collar. And this week you talked to Stephen Martin. Great kid. And hey, he earned the Mike seal of approval for once a night, always a night.
Smart kid, really good player. I mean, he talked a lot about his journey to walk on to get some opportunity for some reps too. And what I loved most about Steven is he's one of the first that you can think of. I think Alec Holler is another that grew up in Orlando, grew up going to UCF games, grew up as a Knight. And I think you're starting to see that kind of come through. I thought that was really cool. And he talked about, his kind of growing up, if you will, as a Knight fan in this clip.
Well, yeah, UCF has really always been a part of my life. Both my parents, they went to school there, they met there. And so since we stayed in the area, I grew up going to all the games. I went to the first game ever on UCF campus, the Texas game back in 2007. I mean, I was just 5 years old, but that's kind of where everything started for me.
You gotta love that.
You gotta remember, Stephen, about that.
Yeah, you gotta love. And he went on to say he was at the 2013 Cows game, the 2017 Cows game, the 2017 championship game, 2018 championship game, and he grew up, with UCF, just like we all did, just like we've been following along. That's really cool. Obviously, he moved on to Samford. I think his reasons for doing so are pretty interesting. You can hear that in the interview, right? But you can tell that it was a tough decision, one that I think he kind of really wrestled over. So glad to have Stephen on. If you want to check that episode out, wherever you get your downloadable content, you can find that, or go to YouTube and you can see the full hour-plus interview with Stephen Martin. He also reveals, Trace, one thing that he thinks John Rice Plumlee may not be good at. I've been on a mission to find one thing. John Rice Plumlee seems too perfect to me. I've been on a mission to find one thing. He may have one thing, and one thing only, by the way, that John Rice Plumlee is not good at.
I'm skeptical. He seems pretty good at most of the things.
I know. He told me one thing. We'll see if that works out.
Oh, gosh, you can find that on Sun's YouTube and wherever you get your downloadable content. Adam, I spent a number of years in local news, and during my time, we would often have to segue between challenging topics. Tonight's one of those nights. For the most part, we talk about sports, we talk about athletes, we have fun, we've got the shenanigans. You know what to expect from the Sons of UCF week in and week out, podcast and, on Sons Live. Some shows we have been emotional on. I think back to coming together with you and Mike and talking about Otis Anderson passing. And that was a difficult show to talk about, but we shared our memories. And that sometimes is a part of what we do here. That's what happens when stories come our way. You don't want to cover difficult times, but we've had that that moment. Now, a year and a half later, after the passing of Jake Hescock, his family is working on a fundraiser in his honor. They're working to put together a foundation in his name. And we're going to welcome in his family in just a moment. But I want to paraphrase a poem called The Dash. I was telling you about this before we went on, Adam, by an author by the name of Linda Ellis. And it reads in part, I read of a man who stood to speak at the funeral of a friend. He referred to the dates on the tombstone from the beginning to the end. He noted the first came the date of birth and spoke the following date with tears. But he said what mattered most of all was the dash between those years, for that dash represents all the time that they spent alive on earth. And it goes on to say, what matters is how we live and love and how we spend our dash. How did Jake Hescock spend his dash? Let's welcome in his parents, Carrie and Jake Hescock. Thanks so much for being with us. Spend a little bit of time with us on Sons of UCF Live.
Thanks for having us, guys.
Thank you.
Carrie, how did Jake spend his dash? He lived life to the fullest.
Yes, he did. He didn't let a day go by without doing all that he wanted to do. He loved adventures. He loved his friends. He loved his family. He loved his dog. He loved to hike every single day. Um, he would literally wake up and that child was in a good mood. He was smiling the moment his feet hit the floor, and he was ready to conquer the day. He always had a plan. He never laid around. He didn't let time waste away. He literally lived life to its fullest, doing everything that he loved, spending time with us, hunting, fishing, golfing, um, you name it. He did it. He did everything. Everything and anything he wanted to do, Jake did. And he did it well.
Jeff, I think Knights fans know him obviously as a football player, but he played a lot of sports in his life and excelled at anything he attempted.
Yeah, when Jake was young, he was a excellent baseball, basketball player. Uh, Played basketball straight up through high school. Played at a high level at Salisbury Prep School in Connecticut. They played a lot of really upper class high school teams all over the Northeast. And he stepped away from baseball after a while to focus more on preparing for the upcoming football seasons. But he also did so many other activities. He loved to ski. The story goes back when he was at Wisconsin before he went to UCF. There was a little anthill that they called a mountain in Wisconsin, and he gathered about a dozen of the players who'd never been on skis before in their lives from all over the U.S. and brought them to this little place and gave them a crash course on downhill skiing. And I can say the coaches kind of frowned upon that a little bit when your star players are out there smashing down the mountain. So it was that was just the kind of guy he was and the activities he just loved to do.
Gary, I'm curious. You guys talk about win the day. How does that embody Jake? How does that embody kind of what you saw from him day in and day out? The philosophy of win the day.
Oh my gosh. Like I said, as soon as he woke up in the morning, he'd come down the stairs when he was home and that'd be the first thing he'd say out loud, hey, come on, guys, we got to win the day. Let's go. We got to do this. No matter what it was. Like I said, I mean, he may just have plans to go fishing with his friends and, but he was always excited and he was always looking forward to, you know, like I said, his adventures and being with people that he loved most. And he learned that mantra while he was at Salisbury Prep School. The dean of students would always have a morning meeting. And at the end of it, he would say, all right, guys, let's go win the day. And Jake took that to heart and he lived that fully every single moment of every day. I know his girlfriend, Nikki, that he lived with in Florida. She would tell her mother, oh my gosh, Mom, it's not even 7 a.m. and he's wide awake and he's running around the apartment saying, come on, Nikki, get up. We got to go. We got to win the day. And she's like, Jake, it's not even 7 o'clock yet. But that's just who he was. That's truly who he was. He was always excited, always happy, always in a good mood. And he didn't hold grudges. If he was angry, he could move past that quickly. He was just a true saint. He really was. He was a saint.
Jeff, obviously it takes a lot to be a Division I college athlete. When did you see, or what did you see in Jake from a work ethic standpoint that you said to yourself, okay, he's going to be able to make it? Because everybody plays high school sports, right? But only a few get a chance to go into college. When did you kind of see, or what did you see in Jake where you said this kid's going to play at a D1 football level?
It was kind of at a young age in youth football. And as he transitioned from youth football to high school, you could see he excelled pretty well. And then, so the year that he transitioned from youth football to high school, the youth programs used to start a couple weeks earlier before the high school would even get going. So Jake our house is probably about a half a mile to 3/4 of a mile from the youth practice facility, and he would get up at 7 o'clock in the morning when the youth practices would go on, put on his full high school gear, jog it from here to that practice area, and then practice with the kids that he played with the year before in youth up until the time that his high school program started. So the youth coordinator and coach of the senior level up there just said that, this isn't something that, most kids want to do at 7 o'clock on a Saturday morning, half-mile jog in full gear and then come up to a 2.5 hour practice and then come back home. And it's our area is a little different than what you see down in Florida, Georgia, Texas, California. We're in Western Massachusetts. We're in the 413 area code. Kids from here very rarely go to a Division I program. For you to even speak it around here, it's like, yeah, there's a very slight chance that that's going to happen. But he did it then, and then he made the transition from our local high school. He made the choice. He wanted to go to the next level, so he transferred in 10th grade from the local schools to Salisbury Prep, and Coach Phelps there at Salisbury just really took him to the next level.
And of course, not just athletics. I was interested to read, Carrie, that he was class president. He was involved in theater. I mean, we see him as a football player. We don't know about these other things before he got to UCF.
That's very true. Jake was so much more than a football player. We've always said that. Yeah, he could do anything. He wasn't shy. He was very outgoing. He was very comfortable in his own skin, for sure.
Jeff, he goes to Wisconsin. What was that recruitment process like? Where else was he considering before he made the decision to go to Wisconsin?
Well, the choices they will say was the next closest wouldn't make UCF very happy. So he was being highly recruited at University of Florida, and I sent him down to a camp. My cousin happened to work at UF she would go out and fundraise for them. So on a whim, I called her up. I said, "Hey, I'm going to send Jake down to a camp down there." And it was something that we've always said amongst each other: you got to beat the guys on their home turf. You can't say I'm from Massachusetts and think everyone's going to come up here and look at you. Let's go to them and show them what you got. And I couldn't make the trip, so my cousin took care of it, and he called me from the coach's office and said, "Hey, they're going to offer me down here." I'm like, yeah, I was ecstatic. I was like, I can't believe it. And then the recruitment went back and forth, and we were on the phone with UF when we were on the way to the airport to Wisconsin. And then when he got to Wisconsin, he just loved the area, loved Madison, and that's what ended up Wake Forest. I loved Wake Forest. He was Wake, Maryland, Pitt, all the Northeast schools. Connecticut was the first one to offer, obviously, him being from Connecticut. But it was a whirlwind process. We drove up and down the Eastern Seaboard over the course of a week and a half, took a week and a half off from work and stopped at all the schools, talked to all the coaches. And, for someone from Western Mass, that this doesn't happen very often. It was very, very exciting.
Well, Jeff, take us inside. What brought Jake from Wisconsin down to lonely Orlando and UCF? How did that journey take him from Madison to Orlando?
So Madison didn't end up working out, and we had family in the Daytona area. Carrie's parents were living down there at the time. Jake's coach from Salisbury knew, I don't know if you guys remember Coach Dawson, linebackers coach. He had a in with him. So we were on the phone with UF, and we said, hey, we're going to take a trip down to Florida. We're going to go to UCF and UF, and we're going to see. And the University of Florida guy said, yeah, we might be able to make some time for you. But Coach Frost brought us in, and he was just so welcoming and so appreciative of us making the trip. And right away, we walked around campus for a little bit. We went to practice, and before practice was over, Coach Frost came over, had a conversation with Jake, and it said, Jake's like, if I come down here in 2 days, would that work for you? And he said, most definitely. So we flew back to Massachusetts, loaded up the car, and drove down, and we pulled up, put him in a dorm, and off we went.
Kerry, I'm curious. A lot of people talk about the Knight Nation family. We talk about what happens on the field all the time, but take us kind of behind the scenes. As parents, as kind of the family of all the football players, what was that experience like? How close was Jake to his teammates? How close were you to some of the other families, other parents?
Oh, Jake loved his teammates. He called them his brothers. And my cousin actually purchased a cabana so that our family could experience the games right on the field. And that was quite amazing. But, I didn't get to sit with the parents very often because we had the cabana. But I can tell you that the parents that I did have the pleasure of meeting, they were just lovely. They were all so kind. And, I felt like I'd known them my whole life, even though I just encountered them for a few moments. But after Jake's passing, a lot of the UCF moms remember that the 2017-18 team there. Well, they have rallied around me. They keep in touch. Teresa Milton reaches out quite a bit. She actually sent me a box of letters that she had started writing me the moment that Jake was in the hospital, and sent me those, and they were very heartfelt. So she keeps in touch. But the experience itself was amazing. To have your son play D1 and then to actually get on the field and actually, catch some passes and make a few touchdowns. I mean, that's just incredible. And I said that to Jake. I said, Jake, there's so many kids that play this sport and never walk on that field during a game. They never touch the field and they never get their hands on a ball. You are so blessed that happened for you. And he knew that, but he also knew his role and he accepted it. And he was very selfless. And I know his teammates can attest to that. And he really did love them all. He loved them all. And he talked highly of each one of them, especially the younger group coming in the tight ends room. He said he, had some quite deep conversations with them, and a few of them, were struggling. And he just said, hang in there, just stick with it. And I can assure you that it'll pay off. It'll pay off. So, he and Alex had those types of conversations, and I'm sure Alex is very, has a lot of gratitude towards Jake for helping him when he was going through those tough times. And his parents have been lovely as well. It's just, I have a lot of love for the UCF parents, a lot of love for them. They've been wonderful. And his teammates have stayed in touch, and that means the world to us. So we're really grateful for the support that we've received.
Kerry, when I first reached out to you, it was after seeing some of your videos. I started watching your videos on social media where you were talking about the grieving process. Have you found that people are more open to you about their own experiences because you've been so open about yours?
Yes, they have. Yes. And I've met some, unfortunately, I've met some parents from all over who are walking in our shoes. I become friends with a woman down in Georgia. Her son played for Furman, and he passed this past February. And her only child, her only son. but we become pretty close, and we share our experiences with one another, and tried our best to lift one another up. But yeah, unfortunately, I've met a lot of parents, and they share their stories. But you know, we know that we're here for one another, and that's become my mission now, to try to help other parents, walk through the grief. You're never going to get over it, but you are going to get through it. So there's a difference, and it takes a lot of work. It takes a lot of
Yeah,
work.
you said recently on social media, I'm determined to turn my pain into my power and purpose. Jeff, does that resonate with you as well?
It does. Like I said, everybody grieves a little bit differently. Carrie's purpose and power, and the way she's taken on the foundation and run with it and turned it into a force now, having our first fundraiser and things like that. I'm more of a do what Jake would like to do kind of guy. We did so much together. My grief is subsided by, going and doing the things that we always did together and saying, this is what he would want us to do. He would want to be here with us, and whether we were going hunting or fishing or at the golf course or camping, hiking, my goal is to try to get more of that into life, because we tend to not live those things so much. We put them off because of our work life and social commitments and things like that, and it's it's just forced me to, or made me want to take more time to enjoy the things that he enjoyed.
Jeff, you talked a lot about, Jake off the field and his hobbies, and he was obviously a very talented kid. He was also a really good football player. One of my favorite Jake memories was the touchdown pass he caught in 2018 in the championship game. Daryl Mack threw him a ball, and he kind of had to fight a defender. Do you have a play or a moment from Jake's career that kind of brings a smile to your face that you remember fondly?
I mean, that's the defining one right there. When he caught that, it was he went to the ground on his back. And I asked him, I said, did you just lay there for a second and bring it all in with, 50,000 screaming fans going crazy? And, there's so many throughout. I mean, his first pass that he caught was at USF. We were there in the front row, got to see it, the run at Memphis. So at Memphis, we'll always remember the big defensive lineman got brought in to lead the way on that 70-something yard run, but Jake was right there with him, and Jake ran all the way down the field, right beside the back, all the way down to the end zone. And I still see that in my head, because he may have caught a few balls that were very helpful in winning us a couple of games, but I would say if you went back and counted the number of touchdowns where he was the guy that was at the point of attack and getting the guys into the end zone, and I remember McCray saying, "Hey, you put 88 out in front of me and we're in." And, so he took a lot of pride in that. So some of the blocks, I remember he took out two guys in one block at Temple that sticks in my head. So he took a lot of pride in that. He knew his role, and he worked hard at it. And he if you asked him, he enjoyed doing it. But yeah, there was that catch, in the Memphis game. We weren't there. We were here with about 20 other people. The room erupted. The stadium erupted, and his younger brother was the one that was lucky enough to get to make that trip. So I would have to say that was probably the career-defining one right there.
Carrie, in today's day of college athletics, the transfer portal is a thing, right? Everyone's kind of coming and going. Jake went through 3 coaching staffs, right? You mentioned Coach Frost, Coach Heupel, Coach Malzahn, yet he stuck through it every single time. He stayed at UCF, stayed loyal. What was it about Jake that made him loyal, that he said, I know things are changing, but this is my home. I'm staying at UCF?
No, he was committed from day one. He was comfortable at UCF. He loved, and I can't emphasize that enough. He loved his teammates, and he didn't want to let anybody down. He decided that that was his home, and he was going to stay for the duration and finish his sixth season and move on. But yeah, he made that decision from day one. He wasn't going to transfer. He had already done that one time for moving from Wisconsin to UCF, and he was very comfortable at UCF. And although yes, they changed multiple times with coaching, he just embraced it, and he said, I'm just going to make the most of it, and he did. He really did. I think I think that he respected each coach that he had. I know he respected them. I don't think I know, and he just he wanted to mentor the younger guys coming through that were going to be playing next, and he decided that that was it. He knew after a sixth season it was going to be over. He made that decision. He wasn't going to try out. He didn't want to go to pro day. He was going to get his career going and be a normal person and do all the things that he truly loved. So
Coming Saturday in Dalton, Massachusetts, is your golf fundraiser to help fund the Jake Hescock Win the Day Foundation. What do you anticipate that foundation's purpose being? What do you hope to achieve with that foundation?
we hope to help many families of athletes whom were stricken with sudden cardiac arrest. It happens so frequently. And I've been speaking with a gentleman, Sean Sema, from down in Florida. He works for an organization called Who We Play For. So my hope is that we can collaborate with one another. And so what they do is they provide free heart screenings on children and athletes. And once they have the results sent to a cardiologist, they determine whether or not there's a defect that's been undetected. And then Sean has told me that some of these families have high insurance deductibles and they can't afford further testing. So my hope is that Jake's Foundation will be able to provide financial means so that they can have further testing, and also provide CPR education and training. We're just not sure that the gentleman, and we're grateful, don't misunderstand me, who provided Jake with CPR really knew how to perform it. And we're not even sure if there was an AED on hand that they utilized as well, which would have been helpful in Jake's case. So we don't know those things, but anyway, my hope is that we can provide those tools so that we can save lives. That's our goal, to save lives so that another family doesn't have to go through what we've endured.
And to conclude, Jeff, win the day, right? Win today, win tomorrow, and you're going to win big on Saturday at this golf tournament.
Without a doubt. We've got,
Absolutely.
52 teams, 208 players. It's an all-day event. We've got over 70 raffle prizes and live music for the day. We're going to definitely win that day for sure. And that's realistically, Carrie and I, we figure every day we wake up and take a breath and take steps forward, we're winning the day.
And for both of you, if folks want to help out, what's the best way they can contribute dollars or support the foundation?
So right now, we just have a Venmo set up. We don't have our website up and running yet, but the Venmo is at Win the Day _ Carrie Hescock, and then I transfer the funds over to his foundation. So that's how we have it set up right now. But in the future, we will have the website up and running, which I'll share with you, Trace, in the near future. And we hope to make our way back down to Florida and be at UCF soon and have a fundraiser there so that we can get some of the old players together and sign the autographs and have some of the parents come and raise funds so that we can support his foundation. So we'll be looking into doing that, like I said, in the near future. And it'd be great to see you guys as well in person so we can give you all a hug.
Yeah, and a hug back, and we certainly want to get the word out for you. Thank you so much for telling us more about Jake tonight.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks for having
All right.
us.
Thank
Carrie
you.
and Jeff
Well done,
Hescock,
guys.
thank you.
Thank
John.
you.
Thank you very much. Strong people, Adam. Strong people.
Yeah, I mean, we joke a lot about the show, but obviously there's a lot of real world issues that happen out there. I think, all of us have had some form of loss in our life, and you just got to admire the strength, and not just the strength to kind of go through the day to day, right? But the strength to say, I'm going to make a difference, and we're going to do something. I think that's probably the most admirable thing that the Hescocks can do.
We've been at this for a while, and I remembered having interviewed Jake, no doubt at the podium, but in a media day. I sent this to his mom, and we've got a clip from Media Day 2021 that really embodies Jake's love of his teammates, his love of being a teammate.
Success for me personally is team success. I'm back here because of the team. I wouldn't want to win by myself. If we won a conference championship, it's because the team won it, not just myself. So success for me would be to win with this group of guys and be able to win with this group. I think that we have a really special group here this year, and I think we can do some really special things. And it would mean the world to me if this group could win and have a taste of what we had in 2017, 2018, because those were really special times, and if we could get back to some of that with this group, then that'd be a really special way for me to end my career.
To hear his voice, to see his smile, and to hear his spirit,
Well, that's one way to remember Jake, but I think the other side of Jake's personality, Tracy, this a little bit. He was a jokester. He was a fun personality. I also found this clip too. It's a short clip from one of Jake's most memorable press conferences. One that I think you may have been on, Trace. That if you saw it on social media, you'll never forget it.
How's it going? That's not supposed to happen.
Just the personality, the going to the podium and joking around and just embodying what it meant to be a great human, a great man, a great football player, and a great student athlete and teammate. Definitely gone too soon.
And really credit to you for stepping up and supporting the foundation and the golf tournament. The Suns are sponsoring what are we sponsoring, a hole or something along those lines.
Yeah, I mean, look, any time, there's a lot of worthy causes out there, but I think the thing that we've always loved about our show, Trace, is that we're unapologetically a Knight family, and so anytime fellow Knights need support, need help, there's something anybody can do to help. We've always wanted to be a part of that. So as soon as I saw Carrie post a little bit about the tournament and sponsors, it was a no-brainer that if we can help any part of Knight Nation, Knight family. That's exactly why we do what we do. And so happy to be a part of it in some small way.
Jake's family sent over some photos. I don't know if you showed those earlier. I'm not always looking at the screen.
I did not. No. Yeah.
Do you mind showing them now? And I mean, it's the smile that always captures me, and you see the interest that he has. I mentioned the poem off the top called The Dash. It ends this way. So when your eulogy is being read with your life's actions to rehash, would you be proud of the things they say and how you spent your dash? And I think Jake's life too short, but a life well lived, respected, appreciated, loved by family and friends, and certainly Knight Nation, who got to know him for several years in a football uniform and embraces his family as best we can from afar. Most of us not in Massachusetts, but he is certainly once a Knight, always a Knight, forever a Knight. And I can't thank his parents enough for spending some time telling us a little bit more about Jake and getting to know him a little bit better tonight.
Yeah, this was one, we do a lot of tomfoolery around here. This was one that was a little bit different, but I think it's, again, anytime you can bring awareness to something that's important in Knight Nation. And I loved hearing Carrie talk about how the UCF moms reach out, still embrace her, how his teammates still embrace Jake. I think that just speaks to family, and I think that's awesome. And hopefully that continues on for years and years and generations of players that come through, and and Jake's memory continues to live on through his teammates and through those of us who got to see him play, and for those of us who admire him for not just the player he was on the field, but the person he was, and the good that I think that Jeff and Carrie are going to do with this foundation and the other lives they're going to touch. I think, the mark of somebody is not so much kind of what you achieve, but I think what you leave behind. And I think Jake's legacy has so much potential. And again, hats off to Jeff and Carrie for having the strength to figure out a way to make sure that this goes forward and they do something in a manner that that they think represents Jake the right way. So I can't say enough about how difficult I'm sure that is, but how admirable that is, and how much I think if anybody's watching this, anybody part of Night Nation, would love and want to be involved.
Yeah, and they continue to be there for Jake's younger brother, Luke, as well. So thank the Hescocks for being with us. We will continue to pass along information about their foundation, get the word out, and wish them success on Saturday. I mentioned off the top, it's hard to segue from sports to a conversation of that nature, and it's hard to come out of that sort of conversation, but there was some news and notes for the week. I know we talked about it on Around the Kingdom. You talked about it with Mike on the pod. Baseball, they lost to Florida State, but a heck of a year in his first year, Rich Wallace at the helm of UCF baseball, getting into that NCAA tournament and giving us a lot of memories over the course of the season and in that regional.
Yeah, I don't think anybody saw this coming. I know there's some mailbag questions about Rich Wallace and what we thought. I don't think anybody saw this coming. And so again, another tip of the cap, I think, to what Rich did for that baseball team. Just a little bit short in arms at the very end there. I think, some fatigue gets in the way and get a couple bad breaks. I'm just curious, is Cam Smith still celebrating? Do you know? Is he still celebrating as he's running? I just don't know.
He's number one. Really sure. He's number one.
I don't know. Is he still celebrating that home run? I'm not sure.
I mentioned I was out at UCF earlier to do a little season wrap up with softball head coach Cindy Ball Malone. About a half-hour conversation. You can find that on our YouTube channel. I ended with this, just a short clip, but I asked her about the pride she has in being the leader of this program.
But yeah, so proud to be in this chair, be able to be the head coach of this program and where it's gone
and where it's going. She has high hopes for where they're going. There's going to be turnover, 11 seniors and people in and out of the portal, but she's got, back strong recruiting classes, and she's one of the best coaches in the game and certainly on the campus. So that the Knights are in good hands with her. Cure Bowl.
Hey, Trace, hold on real quick. Kudos to you. That was a great conversation. If you guys haven't heard that whole full interview, it's about 30 minutes. It's a great conversation. A couple of news items in there. And I think not so much. I think what struck me, Trace, she talked a lot about what it meant for her to be a coach at UCF, both professionally, but mostly personally. I think, you've seen a little bit of that side of Coach Bear, but I don't think I've seen her quite like this, as vulnerable as she was, as honest and open as she was. So kudos to you, for getting that conversation. If you haven't seen it, again, check out the YouTube page. I think it's a kind of a different light of Coach Bear, as she's called. I think she comes across more as a teddy bear in this conversation.
Yeah, you don't have to have watched softball in person or on TV to appreciate what those athletes do and the coaches and the success that they've had through the years. So,
Trace, we have made a fatal faux pas.
Yes.
Apparently today was Carrie's birthday.
I did not know.
I did not know either.
I did not know. I will wish her a happy birthday when we sign off. Our friend Alan Gooch, who is the leader there at the Cure Bowl announcing today it's on the move. It's game Friday, December 20th. Going back over to the old Citrus Bowl Camping World Stadium, so it's out of the bounce house. Going to be a Friday high noon kickoff. Those bowl games are going to be competing with real estate against all those playoff games and NFL. It's going to be an interesting month or so, 2 months of football, which of course we can't wait to get to. And track and field will wind up the sports year for UCF out in Eugene, Oregon. Renaya Jones, 100-meter hurdles, Shara Collins, long jump and triple jump, Kia Williams, 400-meter. Now, the top 8 finishers in the field are first-team All-Americans, 9 through 16, second team, 17 through 24 honorable mention. I'm telling you what, if you're there, if you're one of those athletes there, you're, not to borrow that Seinfeld line, you're all winners. Okay.
I choose not to run.
Yeah, you're all winners. It was good mixing it up this week with Eric Lopez. You get a little time in there, by the way. You
I know, much to the chagrin of John Nesbitt.
You could choose that clip, by the way. You could choose a clip in which you're featured prominently.
Once, much to the dismay of John Nesbitt, I do get an appearance on the show every now and again. But this week, our friend Elo stole the show with his hot take on the University of Florida playing UCF.
No, they don't. And what's weird about that comment is, so You didn't want to play UCF for many years because they weren't a power conference school, right? That was always the rhetoric. It's got to be 2 for 1, this or that. Now they are a power conference. You're like, I don't know if we would have wanted to play him either. So you just didn't want to play him either. I think Scott Strickland is talking a lot of excuses and realizes, man, I don't have the right head coach here. This is going to be a tough year, but don't blame me. We're playing for the playoffs. If we're not successful, it's not because of the way we scheduled. It's because of our coach. But that's, the UCF, he clearly wants no part of it.
We're going to have all summer to talk about this one, but where do you stand? Do you consider the Florida game the most important game on the schedule? Because Elo and I differ, and I'm in the minority on this. I know the fan base is focused on that game in Gainesville. I think we're overlooking some of those Big 12 games. I think that game at TCU is huge right out of the blocks. They lose that.
Yeah.
I'll tell you what, you lose that game, this fan base is going to go into meltdown mode, losing a road game in the Big 12.
I talked about it.
Kind of like Kansas State.
Yeah, I talked about it in the pod this week. I think we're talking a lot about Colorado and Florida. They're the sexy games, right? But that TCU game at TCU, that's no cakewalk. Obviously, they've been a program that's been in championship games. So important. I don't want to do that thing where I take a definition and kind of make it feel differently, right? But I think there's tentacles to the UF game rather that you don't see elsewhere. In-state recruiting, bragging rights. So I think you add those factors in, it becomes important. But I don't think it's a critical game for UCF. I think if you lose to TCU, you lose to Colorado. Those are conference implications. You lose to Florida, you just got to hear from your idiot Florida Gator friends for a while, right? So I think while it's important, I don't know if it's as critical as some of the Big 12 games.
There's a lot of ways to follow us, right? It's almost too many ways.
I can't keep up myself. I have no idea.
Twitter, YouTube, and now we're starting to pop a little bit thanks to Clay Pasco on Instagram and TikTok. He's doing a great job with these reels. I have the notifications, so anytime he's posted something.
Wow, you're a big reels guy? I didn't have you as a reels guy.
I'm big on what Clay's doing. I don't have time for all the other reels.
I'd love to see your Instagram algorithm one of these days, Trace. That may be a segment over the summer. Trace's Instagram algorithm.
It's the Suns, and my nephew plays soccer at the Colorado School of Mines, so I follow their Instagram because he pops up on there either play or something. So I'm not big on the Instagram.
I can't show mine on TV.
Yeah, I may need to get with Clay for a little Instagram.
I don't know if I would do that. I'm not sure if I would get with Clay.
I might want to see what's on Clay.
You may get a whole bunch. I don't even know. I'm not really sure. Stay away from Clay and UCF.
So softball comes down to the Big 12, Oklahoma and Texas. It's for all the marbles. Oklahoma jumps out with that early lead in the first game, and Jeff Allen has us with a Big 12 minute.
At the Big 12 softball tournament, the Women's College World Series, Oklahoma and Texas are squaring off right now in Game 2 of the championship series. The Sooners took Game 1 last night 6-3, and if they win tonight, they will claim the crown for the 4th straight time, which would be a first in the sport. A Longhorns win would force a third and deciding game tomorrow night at 8 on ESPN. In the Super Regionals of the NCAA baseball tournament, just 2 Big 12 teams are left. Kansas State takes on Virginia in the Charlottesville Regional. Game 1 is tomorrow night at 7 on ESPNU. Game 2 is Saturday at 3 on the U. And if a third game is needed, it will also be on ESPNU Sunday at 3. West Virginia battles North Carolina in the Chapel Hill Regional. All games will be on ESPN2, Friday night at 6, Saturday night at 8, and the if necessary game would be Sunday at 3. With your Big 12 minutes, I'm Jeff Allen.
Jeff Allen, you were on his show this week picking fantasy rosters.
I'm on too many shows, Trace. I'm on too many shows. But before we get to the mailbag, which I know is next, I do have one special announcement. I have a giveaway I want to do. So you just heard from the Hescock family. You heard from Carrie. Again, here's their Venmo. Win the day at Carrie Hescock. Here's the challenge. I want everybody who's willing to go donate to this Venmo right now. Send me a screenshot in their DMs of your picture of you donating to this Venmo, and I will randomly pick a winner to win an exclusive Sons of UCF pint glass. There's only 2 of these that exist right now, so I'm going to give one of these away. So DM me a screenshot of you donating to win the day. I don't care the amounts. I don't care how many times. Every entry counts. DM me a screenshot of you you donating to win the day, and I will pick somebody at random to win that Sons of UCF pint glass. So let's help Jake's family out. Let's make sure we honor his memory. And again, you may get yourself a nice Sons pint glass.
You know, I'm a stickler on time. You know that about me on this show.
I do. What are you going to do now? Because I know we got a lot of stuff. We got a lot of stuff.
It was important that we spent time with the Hescock family, and I think we were off the air a week.
We were,
and some people clamored for a supersized episode. So
Is this it?
Well, you know, I listened to the podcast. Took me a while.
Same.
You guys went for 2.5 hours.
I didn't listen to it, so good for you.
So I know we're not going to do that, but let's roll the mailbag. We'll go through those as quickly as we can.
Let's do it.
So it's a mailbag. So what?
So what? Do you know whose mailbag that is?
It's that time again. Time to open the Brian W. Peterson Sons of UCF mailbag.
Oh, hell yeah.
I always forget I put that in there.
I remain uncomfortable with
so do I, by the way. So do I.
So can we maybe
do
something about that? When I asked for the edit to include Brian, it wasn't to include my comment. Okay.
You know what? If we get if we get more than, pick a number between 5 and 20, Trace.
14.
If we get more than 14 donations to win the day, I will get rid of the Brian W. Peterson shirtless photo.
Nobody's going to respond then. If you get 14, you keep
Why
it.
would you not? But I may donate 13 times. I'm not really sure yet. More than 14, Brian W. Peterson. You can also donate 13 times on your own.
Clay in the comments, I can conjure up a worse.
I know he can. I know. Don't you tempt him, bro. I wouldn't do it. I wouldn't do it.
At OJT feuds with baseball and softball over what UCF sports are going on until football for us to follow. There's nothing. You gotta follow the baseball players that are in minor league ball, and a couple of those guys hanging out in the USFL or the UFL as their playoffs begin. So there's not going to be a lot after track and field.
If you're a soccer fan, Trace, you got the what is it? The
Don Johnson,
the Gold Cup, I think, is coming up, or the Friendship Cup. I forget what they call it, but 2 friendlies coming up here, and then there's some sort of a cup situation here in the middle of the summer. So
there's UCF guys for those.
Yeah.
At Zeebel's UCF, with the recent settlements and changes to college football player compensation, you all still given to the kingdom, or are we all collectively hoping? This is his word, Zeebel's words. A twitchy billionaire starts bankrolling UCF football. Black Gold _Ed along those lines. Now that we have Vitamin Water No Bull billionaire Mike Rapoli and the bounce house, what does it mean for UCF athletics? You know, we've been talking about Houston and Tillman Fertitta and the Fertitta Center, and they've got their billionaire. It's probably good that UCF has a billionaire.
Copa America, that's correct, Mario. Mario may need some thirst trap photos. I hope it means money, Trace, because that's obviously what UCF needs. We need some money, and if this Mike Rapoli is going to give us some of that said money, sign me up.
Yeah, same. At Dare Zim, are you going to buy a pair of No Bull shoes? The answer for me would be no. I'm waiting for Andrew Cherico to ask me a shoe question, though. At some point, he's good on the shoe questions of the. I don't think I can pull off a shoe question of RJ Harvey.
I'm ready for shoe question. I don't think No Bulls are going to be up Andrew's alley. I think he's more of a classic shoe guy, more of a Nike guy. I don't think No Bulls are up his alley. If you're a workout kind of person, Trace, then maybe for you. You jog? Yes? No?
No, not so much.
No, okay, well, never mind.
Swim, no shoes required.
That's not true, but okay.
Yeah, well, I don't need shoes. 2 letters, 2 words. Robert, would you like to see college football rules allow coaches to challenge bad calls or non-calls by officials for things like pass interference? He's referencing the Canadian Football League. I like this challenge thing in the UFL. It's a super challenge. You can call it on anything. It got utilized over this past weekend. I like the idea of giving some sort of, you can challenge anything. I like it.
Conceptually, I like it. In practice, though, when my games are like 98 minutes, long for a challenge, then I get frustrated. So conceptually, yes, but I also don't want 7-hour games trying to figure out if some guy got an extra inch or not.
I'm going to punt on this question because I think I'm going to use it over summer and around the kingdom. Golden Knight _ the second. Which sport had the best first season in the Big 12. I kind of want to mix it up with
so you just asked
Elo
it
on.
anyway. Okay, fine.
Yeah, so we're not going to answer that one. It's Scott 88513. Any sport? What do you biggest surprise? I'm going to save that too. So I'm going to move along from that. At Riley Carey 16. What grade would you give Rich Wallace his first year at the helm? I give him a solid A. Give him a solid A.
Go A-.
I like his demeanor and his style.
A-. We dropped a couple of games that kind of head scratched you, but I think overall he's got us in the right spot. So A-.
Hey, this is a familiar name. At Leo Sportif.
Who?
Leo. Congratulations. Tweets from Dawkins and Malzahn to Rich Wallace. Will be clockwork every year as baseball is poised to become the #1 men's sport at UCF. True or false? It better. I heard UCF Mike say it better be football. And he ain't wrong about that. It better be football for as much investment as there is in football.
I believe Leo's working in the aerospace industry. Do I have that right? Something in the aerospace. Is there too much helium around him? Because I don't think there's any way this is going to be true, friends. I'm sorry.
At UCF, recently saw George O'Leary sign UCF helmet for sale for $200. Is there a coach in any sport that you would pay $200 for signed memorabilia? For me, the answer is no.
I can't. I mean, I tried to rack my brain. I can't. No. I got nothing for you there. I mean, Tom Landry, maybe, but I don't think he signed anything.
Especially if he did it now. I'd pay $200 for that.
Jimmy Johnson, my Cowboys coach, won his 2, but I don't think Herb Brooks from the the Olympic hockey team also not signing anything recently. I don't think so. No. I got nothing for you there.
And here's one that probably sets you up because I know some things behind the scenes. At Bird's Life, what do I have to do to get some Suns merch to wear over here in Cows territory?
First, get out of Cows territory. I was in Tampa this week. What are you people doing to yourselves? The roadways there are ridiculous. Why are your signs made of pipes? I don't even want to get into all that. But here's what you can. I can tell you who are you. I can't pronounce that. So here's what I can tell you. We got some announcements coming up soon, maybe as early as next Thursday. You think this mug just showed up here out of nothing, out of nowhere? No, my friend.
So there are only 2 of them. I kind of think you court vendors that just give you samples and then you give away the samples.
Samples get deals, Trace. So stay tuned. And there may be some website announcements. There may be some stuff you can do. I apologize. I got my hands all over this. I'll wash it. Actually, I won't wash it. You can. But stay tuned. There may be some stuff to help you get some of that merch that you're craving from the Suns.
There we go.
Clay, I know you live in Tampa. I'm sorry, buddy, but have you guys ever have you redone the road since like 1940 in Tampa? I drove down that stupid 295. Here's all I heard. Ready? Every 14 seconds. We got to get rid of that. Got to go.
That's a sound effect you need to put into the mix.
It's not hard to do, by the way. Yeah.
All right. It's not as... I enjoyed the special effects last week, but I like the low-tech version of what's in the box, Adam.
Sponsored by Charlie Hustle, promo code TEN1215. Get you 15% off your first order, Trace. Here we go. What is in the box this week? This is a great one. I struggle with this one a lot. All right, Trace, what does bi-weekly mean? Twice a week or twice a month? What does bi-weekly mean? What's the definition of bi-weekly? When someone says, Trace, let's meet bi-weekly, how often are you meeting?
That's how many times I appear on Sons of UCF Live every month.
I saw the PTO calendar, my friend. I saw the PTO calendar.
Every couple of weeks. Now, see, I thought you were going to ask me about younger demographics and how we grow the Suns family of shows.
These two have never had anything bi-weekly. Except for maybe like, I don't know, like a
you're trying to
happy hour, maybe?
2 shows a week?
Could it be 2 shows a week?
I don't know. Let's clue you in on this. Let's bring in Andrew Cherico, our man on the scene everywhere, and Clay Pasco, our TikTok Instagram guru. Greetings, gentlemen.
Hey, how we doing?
Doing pretty good. You know, you guys have been a part of the Sons of UCF family, but Adam, the people, the public, they're clamoring for more of these guys, don't you think?
These two?
Yeah, these two.
Yeah, no, listen, Clay is he's here, so he's looking at me, so this is awkward, but Clay is a really talented kid, man. He knows a lot.
Don't look at Adam. It makes him uncomfortable.
He knows a lot about a lot. He does a lot of creative edits. He's got a lot of creative ideas. He's a really good kid. And Andrew, we saw his work all year long covering sports for us. He knows every sport. You throw him out to baseball, he's got you. Softball, he's got you. Football, he's got you. Basketball, he's got you. And so I can't imagine you take Andrew's sports knowledge, Clay's sports fandom, and his creativity. What could happen if we put those two together, Trace? Do you have any idea?
I don't know. Andrew, what could happen?
We can be up all night. I think that's
Whoa,
the best way
hard
to put
stop,
it.
hard stop.
Whoa, hello.
Hard
Hey,
stop there.
hey, it's a
Full
family
pause.
show.
Yeah, full stop.
Even at this hour. And what that means, ladies and gentlemen watching, is that we've got a new program to debut on the ever-expanding Sons of UCF network. Clay, what? Is that
Just a little tease? I don't want to just a little tease. I wanted to, a little
Clay, you and Andrew have teamed up, and you're going to be talking UCF sports as well.
Yeah.
It's pretty much it. That's
you got to show a little more enthusiasm.
It's a late night. It's a late night UCF show. That's all it is. We're just we take a pretty much what you guys do and give a more creative spin on it. We have little gimmicks,
maybe.
Yeah, like we do. Yep. And we have little edits and it's just a more I shouldn't say more creative.
Whoa,
it's what you guys are doing.
Hey,
not a creative
words he was using, Adam.
but more gimmicky. Jeez. It's more gimmicky than what you guys do, I'd say, and it's just kind of what we think about all these things, and I guess if you want to see that, then we have this platform to give that to you, and
we can't be the only ones that are carrying the
informational.
younger demographics. You and I, we need
Listen, I've been skewing young for a long time, but these two gents here, again, they have a creative look on stuff, right? They see the world differently than you and I do, Trace. They think about things differently. They're on campus every day, so they're hearing chatter you and I aren't hearing, and they both have great hair, which we don't have.
You guys like my cowboy hat? I'm in Texas right now.
Wow.
He's on assignment in Texas.
Who knows?
All right. So what we're going to do, folks, is we're going to debut Andrew and Clay's new show, Up All Night, as an extension here of Sons of UCF Live. And then you guys will be back on the weekend, right? Dropping Sunday with another show late at night?
Absolutely.
Yes.
We have with another guest too as well. So go ahead and look out for that. We'll have that one on Sunday night at 9 p.m. Right, Andrew?
We're hitting the ground running. We're going to be giving you episodes every week as much as we can. New content, we are informational. Don't just think you're going in to see two young college students be a bunch of dumb goofballs, which is half of the show. We are also giving good UCF.
No, that's really what we were looking for in a concept. So if you'd like to continue, that's what you need to deliver every week, guys.
But we're gonna be up all night a lot. So we're gonna lose a lot of sleep here. Getting these out, and we any criticism would be nice. We're starting out. Just kidding. I don't want to hear criticism. I get enough from Trace in my DMs.
Whoa!
But,
Wow!
No, I'm just kidding.
Hey.
Let's publish those. What do we look like?
I'm just playing. But yeah. Anyways,
I'm in Austin, Robert.
Austin, Robert.
Are you? Is Robert going to offer? Oh, that's why he wants to know if you're near him in Texas.
Yes.
If you were in Dallas and ignored him or something like that. All right.
Yeah. So this show will probably be keeping you up all night when it shouldn't be. You might get frustrated watching it. You might like it.
Okay.
It will. Yeah. But that's it.
Okay.
All right. So this is the new show on the vast Sons of UCF network here, Up All Night with Andrew Cherico and Clay Pasco. We're going to roll their first episode, so stick with that. Enjoy that. For Adam, Andrew, Clay, I'm Trace Truckle. Go Knights, everybody.
Charge on, everybody. Can't
Charge
wait
on.
Up All Night. Wow, I can't. This is going to be. I just can't wait.
Andrew Cherico here with Clay Pascal, and welcome to our first episode of Up All Night. Hopefully, your new favorite late night show. How's it going, Clay? How you feeling?
I'm feeling really good. I'm ready to get going.
So, it's a new show, new environment. Say a little bit about you.
Well, my name is Clay Pasco, even though Pasco's not really my last name, but that's neither here nor there. I am a student at UCF. I'm going into my sophomore year. I am a legal studies pre-law major and minoring in political science. For Sons, I currently run the Instagram account, and I just, help out wherever I can. What about you, Andrew?
And you had beautiful performances on Clay's Corner. On one of my favorite segments, a lot of the other team didn't think so, but I thought it was hilarious. But as everybody knows, I'm Andrew Cherico. You've seen me a couple times on Sons Live, chatting about football, basketball, baseball, whatever sport may be happening in the UCF community. I am originally from New York. I am a second-year student at UCF. I'm currently studying journalism. And a fun fact about me, and it's a recent claim on Twitter, that I am claiming the best video game player in the UCF athletic community until proven otherwise.
Undisputed champ.
Yeah, so basically with this show, we plan to give you an all-new perspective of young students just trying to enjoy and inform on the UCF community. So I guess that leads right into our first segment. Let's go into the Hot Wheel.
All right.
The Hot Wheel in this segment, all right, it's a wheel, is what it is. Many topics on it, up to 7. And what we'll do is we'll go through about 5. We'll spin the wheel, talk about it for 1 to 2 minutes, and then go to the next topic, spin the wheel again. And that's pretty much the entire gimmick.
And the reason why it is the Hot Wheel is because these are hot topics, hot trends, hot takes in the UCF community, stuff that can be universally talked about or stuff that is very specific. So I guess we can get right into it, Clay. All right, with our first spin, we got the UCF baseball future powerhouse. I'll take the lead on this one. I would say it is trending in the right direction. It is way too early to say they're a future powerhouse, but the fact that they technically made it to the last 32 teams in the NCAA tournament is a crazy statement on its own, especially for first-year head coach Rich Wallace. The reason why I say it is a little bit too early to say that is because when Johnny Dawkins came along to UCF, he brought the team to the NCAA championship with the team that had Taco Fall, and they make runs, and everybody thought we were going to be a great team, great UCF basketball team going forward. And not saying that Johnny Dawkins hasn't been a great coach. I think he's one of the better coaches in the league, very advisable, very knowledgeable of the game, but the teams just haven't been there to get them to that next step. We made NIT, sure, but does NIT mean powerhouse? Absolutely not. So I think we need to see a little bit more consistency out of these next 2 to 3 years to really call us a powerhouse. But I think we're closer than we've ever been.
Absolutely. I think so too. And at the same time, though, not to play devil's advocate, but, Greg Lovelady, I believe, also made the NCAA tournament his first year in 2017. He also, I believe they won the American as well tournament and postseason berth and never made one after. Had pretty underwhelming seasons after the fact. So I would advise us not to get too excited too early. I don't want to be set up for disappointment again.
One of the benefits I would say though is Big 12 pull. Players want to come play for a Big 12 team and athletic organization. That's what they're getting now. That the possibility is better now because of the recruiting possibilities. So yeah.
Absolutely.
All right,
absolutely.
moving on to the next spin.
On to the next one. All right, the future of UCF basketball. All right, how are we feeling about that, Andrew? What do we think? What do we need to expect for next year?
All right, I looking back at the basketball team that played last year, the 2023 team, it was an interesting team. It was a team in a new era of college sports with the NIL era, the transfer portal era. It was interesting. It was a team that was, I believe it was 10 new players on the team, which is insane when you think about it. Only 7 from the previous year. And I believe it is actually going to be less players on this team than the one that's coming next year. So it's just been Johnny Dawkins has basically been building teams with one transfer portal season, and it's hard to do. But once again, the pull of the talent in the Big 12 is going to be extremely helpful in building this new team. And I think the pull of Mikey Williams, Benny Williams, JJ, he's forgot his name, blanking, but he played at Memphis, where he was supposed to play at Memphis with Mikey. And they're going to have a lot of highlight reels together. The team, from when I looked at the roster, it is very long and athletic, and I feel like that's Johnny Dawkins' style. I feel like the 3-and-D kind of a thing, the very lanky athletic. The team's motto is defense. When you're playing UCF, you're thinking straight defense, and the offense is going to come off of that. The problem with the team last year was that the defense was there, the offense was non-existent. Hopefully Darius Johnson and Jalen Swords can create that chemistry and hopefully keep going along with the new additions on the team. So I think they can make improvement. Not sure if it's going to be major because, once again, this is a team built in 1 year, as opposed to Houston, who's had many seniors on their teams and having a constant cycle. That's how they've built that powerful team right there because it's just in and out, and their players are built homegrown as opposed to UCF. But I think the team can be very talented next year.
I agree. As long as we just improve that offense, man. Like I'm gonna be real. I don't really follow basketball. You know, I watch the basketball games and whatnot, but that in terms of ball knowledge, I'm not really there. But we played excellent defense. But that offense, man, that shooting, oh my gosh, just at brick after brick after brick after brick. Like, I don't really play the sport, but man, like, can we get some drills going? I don't know, man. It's just, yeah, as long as we improve that offense and with better recruiting, I have faith in Johnny Dawkins.
Yeah, and the duo I was talking about was Mikey Williams and JJ Taylor. I just had to double check. I think they're going to put on so many highlight reel clips. You saw Jalen Sellers have some insane dunks last season. I think the same could be done with those two.
I agree. And on to the next topic, right? Spin the wheel.
Do it. Okay.
Group of 5 playoff. All right, I like where this one's going.
All right, you take lead on this one. Let me hear what you got.
All right, so it was proposed in a meeting, I believe, with a bunch of athletic directors to give the Group of 5 football teams their own playoff and not have their automatic bid into the current 12-team college football playoff. And there was a lot of controversy around this, especially being from UCF, a former Group of 5 team, and being in the Power 5. There was a lot of debate around this and being able to have access to the playoff and be able to have access to win a national championship. And my thoughts on it is I'm for it. I'm for a Group of 5 playoff. All right, so the whole idea is that you want to be included. You want to have access to the national championship. But I think the reality is, especially in this era of college football that we're in now, that's not possible. I believe a Group of 5 team is capable of maybe upsetting a team in the playoff, but they don't have the depth, they don't have the money, they don't have the funds, they don't have the ability to go 3 straight games of playing top 10 teams in the nation and winning a national championship. All right, I don't think we're ever going to see a 2017 UCF again. I don't think we're ever going to see a 2021 Cincinnati again or a 2006 Boise State. The disparity between the Group of 5 and the Power 5 is growing, and it's only going to continue to grow as long as NIL is here, as long as pretty much as long as the NIL is here, and as long as there is transfer portal. Absolutely, I think that has kind of killed the idea of a Group of 5 team being able to make it all the way.
Yeah, it's a really hard concept because then, like you said, there could be a team like UCF that just plays so well together. The team chemistry is there, and they just surprise a ton of people, and then they just simply won't get the chance to shine. I wish there was some sort of system that they can build, like they have a mini playoff, and the team who wins that playoff, who's the most deserving, gets a bid to the NCAA football playoffs. I wish they can do something like that. The team most deserving in the G5 gets to play in the P5 football tournament. But like you said, it's with this new era of college football, transfer portal, NIL era, it's so hard to, like you said, have that team again. I think
absolutely.
The disparities, the blue chip recruits, nobody even thinks about wanting to play for those schools unless you're forced to. If you have the option to play anywhere else and you get solid playing time, it's just not going to happen. And sometimes players leave. Like even with UCF, we had players come in the spring transfer portal and leave as soon as it ended and towards the end. There's people who came in and came out immediately. So the fact that they're doing that with G5 teams, it's hard. So I would say for now, I think it could get views. It could have TV pull because it's still a lot of people root for these schools. And I just wish there could be a system that if one of those teams makes it all the way, they get an automatic bid to the 12-team playoffs next year.
No, I agree. But I think, too, even if you do have that mini playoff for the Group of 5 teams, they're going to be just so tired by the time they get to the college football playoff. They're going to be a free – I'm just worried they're going to be a free bye week for whoever plays them.
Absolutely. Good point.
All right. And I think that should get us on to the next topic for spinning the wheel. So let's go ahead and get spinning again.
Let's get it spinning, baby. And it's –
oof. Okay.
I
got into it.
Oh,
I got into it. All right. Does UCF have the best logo in college athletics?
Oh man, this is so hard to say because it's my alma mater. It's who I am.
It's
us, but no. We don't.
And I got into it on Twitter because someone said, what do you think is the best logo in college athletics? And I put both Florida State and Florida. I think they have iconic logos, great logo. I love the Seminole head, and as much as I hate the Gators, the Gator head is iconic. It's a great logo.
It is, and actually, those are the two I had in mind.
Yeah, exactly. They're amazing logos. I don't know why we didn't get whoever made those to make ours. And all I said was that UCF, the stack logo, right behind you, Andrew, is a 7 out of 10 at best. It's fine. It's nothing amazing. It's not bad. It's not great either. It's fine. And oh boy, I think I had like 2 likes on that tweet, but like 50 comments, 100 quotes, saying a lot of them just saying that I'm negative, and I'm an FSU homer, I'm a Florida homer. I'm not, and that I'm just being purposely negative towards my own team. And let me just say, I don't think admitting that your team isn't the best at something is negative. I don't think it is. If you, it's one thing to think that UCF, has an amazing logo. It's fine. It's another though to admit that it's perfect, and I don't think it is. It's classical. It's refined. But something amazing. Now, if we went to the Nighthead, the little nitro head that we developed in 2021, that's an amazing logo. I would immediately take back everything I said about Florida State and Florida if we went to that one as our full-time logo.
I was actually just going to flip that question. I was going to ask, do you like the Nighthead logo better? Or
absolutely, I love it. I think the Nighthead logo should be our primary, and I think it would honestly, it strikes fear. I think it would strike fear.
And I feel like you need like a solid logo, not just letters, to have an iconic logo.
Absolutely. So, I don't like letter logos, and I never will. I think they're lazy. And this leads us right in our next segment into Trivia Night. So we had the privilege of sitting down with Adamine, our CEO, and asking him a few questions about his time here at UCF. He was here 50 years ago, I think, or something like that. And here is that right now.
Ken. What's a hoe? No.
All right, welcome. Hello, Adam. How are we doing today?
What's up, gents? Sun's CEO. I've never been called that before. This is quite an honor. I appreciate it.
I didn't really know what else to put there.
I don't know what to call myself either. That's great. Yeah, I'll take it. I'm gonna have Trace call me CEO from now on.
CEO and president are 2 different positions. President is of course Brian, and
of course
just be CEO. Yeah,
all due respect to Mr. President. I'm with you.
So we got some questions for you today. I'm gonna go ahead and start there with question number 1. All right, and that is in 1998, your first year at UCF.
Yeah.
Our Golden Knights went 9-2. Can you tell me what teams UCF lost to that year?
Oh, that's easy. So at Purdue was early in the season. And then if you guys listen, I know you guys are youngins, but that Auburn game in 98, I mean, we could win that thing. Dante pees down his leg. I don't know what happens there. We end up losing that thing 10-6. So Purdue, Auburn, 2 losses in 98.
Can you tell me the scores?
Purdue was 10-6. Oh, no, sorry. Auburn was 10-6. Purdue was it was a blowout. We scored 1 touchdown. I want to say 31-7.
35-7. But we'll give it to you. We'll give it to you.
That is so close. Honestly, the fact that you remember that, I'm not calling you old.
Yeah.
But 1998.
No, I'm old. No, you're there. Well, let me tell you why. I don't know if we have time for me to expand on this show or not. I'm CEO, do what I want, right? That was the first game that we were actually on ESPN. So back in our day of 90, like you couldn't get games on TV. Like you were listening on the radio, or you had to like watch the bottom line and hope that ESPN News or something put it on. And that was on ESPN. It was like, I think it was a noon kickoff at Purdue. So that's why I remember that game distinctly, because it was like, holy crap, we're actually on TV. Like we're not on Sunshine Network. And then we got embarrassed.
Okay.
All right. For the second question, we're going to go back to 1998. When UCF's invite to the Oahu Bowl was dropped, they had a chance to be invited to the Sun Bowl. However, this 7-5 team was selected instead. Who was it?
Ooh, the Sun. So I know that something happened with UCLA and Miami in a late season game, which ended up bumping UCF out of the bowl game. I think Miami was not supposed to win that year. UCLA was supposed to beat them. It was a rescheduled game because of our hurricane. So I'll go with Miami, but I have no confidence in that answer.
Go ahead, Andrew.
Unfortunately incorrect. It was TCU. So
it was
a solid 1 for 2 right now. I'm telling you, this is back in 98. So
yeah,
it is a time portal back. It is.
I'm going to tell you where you messed up. So you were thinking of the Micron PC Bowl.
Of course, I always am. Yeah. I always am. Yeah,
that was the one Miami was supposed to lose to UCLA,
Yeah.
to give him that spot. And
I always do. That damn Micron
Yeah.
PC Bowl gets me every time.
It gets all of us.
Rest
man.
in peace. Rest in peace.
All right. So question number 3. You can still make up. All right. In 2000, UCF defeated Alabama 40-38. Alabama's quarterback ended up throwing 4 picks that game. What was his name?
Oh, he was terrible. Yes. Stupid name.
Stupid name.
It was like stupid name. It's like blech, but not like. I want to say, did it start with a Z? Can you give me a hint? Did it start with a Z?
It did start with his last name started with a Z. Yeah.
I'm gonna go. I forget his first name. I thought his last name was Zhao. Z-O-W.
That is correct. Andrew Zhao.
Andrew,
Awesome.
okay.
Okay.
You said stupid name. I'm like, hold
Yeah,
on.
Andrew Zhao.
Give me one other person name. Well, no, I'm sorry. No, the last name is stupid, Andrew. The first name, very presidential, very regal. The last name, what the hell's a Zhao?
Yeah, no, I agree.
Right.
That is the first time I've heard that last name, to be fair.
It's sad. And probably the last time, too, after that game.
All right. So you're a Cowboys fan, right?
That's correct.
Can you tell us the last year the Cowboys made the NFC Championship? Not to sting the heart a little bit.
All right, so let's see here. Whew, I'm gonna go. Was it 1996?
1 year off.
95, right?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
And this is supposedly America's team, by the way.
96 is when we lost to the Panthers, I think, in the playoffs. We went to Charlotte and the Panthers absolutely embarrassed us. I have that right.
Every year.
Troy Aikman was just a shell of himself at that point. Yeah.
Adam, I have a quick question. Is it the Cowboys' year this year?
No.
What do you mean? Zeke's back.
No.
Zeke.
No, is he back though? What's he back to? That's the thing. Like he's back to Dallas. Is that he wants like $9 million? I have no idea if he's worth it. Like that's the thing about the NFL is you either pay a quarterback like a bunch of money they're not really worth, and then you're cap strapped forever, or you find somebody who's willing to take a good deal and you can ride it out. Dallas is. We don't have enough around Dak to make him the best. I don't know how he finished second in MVP. It's a head scratcher to me.
In the words of Jerry Jones, we're going all in this year.
I just got to beat the Giants so I don't have to hear Mike talk. So I just need the Giants to go away. I have some Philly fans. I really need Philly to go away. Like Commanders, take it all away. I don't care. But I did Philly and New York. I need them out of my life as soon as possible.
Fair.
Well, right. You went 3 for 4 today, or no, I should say 2 for 4.
2 for 4.
Yeah.
That's 50%.
Almost.
That's not bad.
Yeah, not bad. That's
we will have guests on.
Are there going to be standings? Yeah. Will you guys have like a leaderboard running that I can kind of see where I stack up? Like when your next guest comes on, who I know he's going to bomb because what is this guy now? So I just want to know the leaderboard so I can kind of track my progress.
Absolutely. And 2 out of 4 to Mike, that's passing. So
C's get degrees, Clay. C's get degrees. That's all I can tell you.
It's more like a D-, but we'll slide.
Wow.
Yeah.
You guys don't have a curve in college? They got rid of the curve in UCF?
I asked my professor for a curve. She told me to get out of her office.
So. Yeah, I don't get a curve either. So,
poor kids.
Well, anyways, Adam, thank you so much for being here this week. Maybe we can have you back some other time, and you can get the questions right. And
that's I deserve all the shame in the world, Clay. That's my fault.
No, it's all good. It's all good. But until then, go record Suns pod tonight. Make it fascinating, make it good, and we'll see you next time.
Awesome. Thanks, guys.
Thank you, Adam.
No problem.
So hopefully you had fun watching Adam struggle, or I guess 50% is not terrible with the questions, but hopefully you enjoyed that segment, and we'll have more guests on, so be on the lookout for that. All right. Now, segueing into our next segment is Weekly Nightmares. Around the UCF community, there's plenty of weekly nightmares, whether it be stuff happening on campus, stuff happening athletically, or stuff happening around the country. For this one, we're getting a little bit more specific. As we spoke about earlier, we had UCF in the round of 32 for the NCAA tournament in baseball. And let's just say this was our weekly nightmare. Let's talk about that 5th inning.
Well, actually, all right, so I wasn't able to find the highlights, all right? So I did something to. Okay, I emailed ESPN. I was like, hey, I need the highlights for this game. Could you please send it to me? And they have this thing called a visualization. So like, all right, we have the visualization for it, and they were able to send me this.
I am a god, you dull creature, and I will not be bullied by that. Puny god.
They weren't too nice to me about it. They told me to stop emailing.
I could say that is the most accurate representation of what FSU did to
Yeah.
UCF.
We went
And
up,
that-
9 runs in that
It was
inning?
9 runs in that inning. It's just
Oh my
like you went in there super confident. You were up. What was it? 4-2? Or was it 4-2 or 4-0? I'm not sure. It was one of the
No, it
other.
was 2-0.
2-0. That is correct.
It was 2-0.
Excuse me, 2-0. And Jack Ziska hit that home run early in the game, and everything is feeling like, oh my God, we have a chance. Bam! FSU just unloads the hammer on us and just goes absolutely bananas. It was our weekly nightmare because, without that 5th inning, UCF could have went further. Would have made it to their first super regional.
Yeah, I did not have fun watching that
Still
game.
tremendous results from UCF in that tournament.
Absolutely.
Exceeded all expectations. But, man, that 5th inning was brutal.
It was something for sure. As someone who doesn't really like baseball, I watched. Of course, I was taking to watch UCF baseball regardless. It hurt. My dad's a Florida State alumni, so he's a Florida State fan, and having to watch that game with him looming behind me with a grin on his face, enjoying it. He enjoyed it. It was rough. I was just hoping at the very least we could win one of them and force a game 3 on Monday. But it's fine. Florida State was just a better team. They just were. Sometimes it just comes down to they were obviously the better team. They came to play. I don't think it helped either that we played a game earlier that day against Stetson.
Yeah.
But still a great season. Rich Wallace and really outdone themselves. So yeah.
All right.
I think this speaking of weekly nightmare, we almost have another weekly nightmare. That's not really a weekly nightmare though. It's more of just a throwback.
Throwback.
And today.
Yeah, you go ahead.
Oh yeah, I mean it can be a nightmare for sure, but I don't know where it is. But anyways, I'm trying to look for the banner. The throwback. We're gonna do a throwback today, and that's gonna be a segment we're gonna do every single week. Throwback. We want to remind you. You can tend to forget things, as we all do, and we want to remind you of old UCF plays. So today, this is what we have to show for you.
Coming after McLean, running out of time. What do you got? McLean! He's still on his feet. Oh my goodness! It's caught! Unbelievable!
But do you know how often I see that on TikTok and Reels where somebody like, yo, look at this crazy play. And everyone in the comments is like, dude, that was insane. Like UCF must have won that game, right? They must have won that game. No, we didn't.
No.
And what's even funnier about that is at halftime I moved to the club section because there was no one there. I just walked in the club section. I'm not gonna sit in that janky student section anymore. I'm gonna go sit in the club seats, with the rich people.
Yeah.
And I was 2 rows up on that side of the stadium. So I got to see Timmy do that right in front of me, and it would just ruined my night.
It was, I would say, with all the buzz of the new NCAA football game coming out, that is the most remote throw from a video game you would ever see. I've done that in Madden at least 20 times on multiple occasions. So the fact that that happened in real life and I was sitting around the 50-yard line, or closest to the field as can be, it was insane to watch that happen. Like you said, unfortunately, I don't know how we didn't win that game. It was that game, probably one of the most heartbreaking games it changed the whole momentum of the season. But we do have to give props to Timmy for that play. But otherwise, insane. And speaking on the throwbacks, each week it might be a good throwback, it might be a bad one. So just prepare which one. You take a guess on which one it's going to be. But yeah, that was our throwback, and we just thought one of the craziest play last year. Why not start off our throwback with that? All right, so that transitions us into our betting lines. I don't know. I'm under 21.
Betting lines.
I'm under 21, but these aren't real bets. These are prop bets.
Yeah, and two, some sports betting apps let you do. They let you do. They still let if you're 18. I think PrizePicks is 18. Yeah, I think it's 18. But anyways, okay. So, what do you guys know about Panthers Mike? Formerly UCF Mike 1, but now he's Panthers Mike. He is a huge Panthers fan. I don't know where this came from. Maybe I know I haven't known him. I've only known him maybe a year now. You know, he never mentioned it, but now he likes to go on little what I like to call Twitter tirades. All right, he's always tweeting about the Panther, you know, the Panthers. So, our current betting line right now is the Panthers have made the finals. They made the finals, and our betting line is over under 3.5 tweets tweeted per game per night by Panthers Mike 1. So I based this. I made the line myself because the last 2 games he's tweeted. One tweeted 3 times, the other tweeted 4. So I want to know what you're betting on, Andrew. You betting over 3.5, or are you betting under 3.5?
I do just have to start by saying the picture I believe that he's at that game at is against my New York Rangers, which they beat us. It hurt my soul. And looking at his tweets, I'm like, damn, this guy's a Panthers fan. It hurt. It hurt. The rebrand was real, by the way. The rebrand was crazy.
Yeah, the rebrand was nuts. I'm not gonna lie.
But yeah, he didn't tweet too much, but it is the Stanley Cup. So I definitely expect the tweets to go up. I don't think he's ever going to be more locked in his entire life. And trust me, this Rangers team that we had was really solid. I think we had the better goalie in the series, to be honest. Mike, if you're listening, shut up. Shesterkin is better. But I think it's going to be he's going to go for the over.
You know, I'm going to disagree with you here, Andrew. I'm going to go the under. All right. I think he's going to be at the game. I think he's going to be drunk out of his mind. He's going to be there rooting. I think his you know, if he has friends that care about him, they're going to take his phone away, as any friend should, in that situation. So I'm going to go under. I'm going to say he doesn't tweet. Hopefully, you know, I don't even know who the Panthers are playing. I don't really keep up with hockey, but whoever they're all playing, beat them, please. He doesn't deserve this. Mr. Panthers Mike does not deserve this win. He doesn't deserve it.
And does the pregame selfie count, like him showing himself at the game? That has to count.
We'll count the pregame. Yeah, we'll count the pregame selfie.
All right.
Yeah.
So yeah, I like my odds.
Okay.
It's just going to be like they're going to score. It's going to be a heavy scoring series. Edmonton is a very dominant offensive team, so I think it'll be a lot of heavy scoring. I think he's just going to post a crap ton about it.
I agree. So I believe this goes right into another little bit. We're our top 5 list. So today we're going to do top 5 players to be drafted from UCF. If you don't know what that means, at University of Central Florida, as or the NFL just says Central Florida, and a lot of players to choose from, a lot of options. I feel like this could go any other way or a lot of ways. So Andrew, I'll let you go first. Who's your number 5?
My number 5. Oh, okay. This is a little bit of a plot twist, but I had such a hard time picking between Blake Bortles and Latavius Murray. Okay. Obviously, Latavius Murray, Pro Bowler, I believe a one-time Pro Bowler, had a very successful career for the Raiders, and then he went to the Ravens sometime later in his career. But overall, like a solid NFL running back and lots of longevity, lots of career highlights. But then it's the boat. You have the boat. And
absolutely. The boat, man.
And he doesn't have as much career achievements or accolades, but I feel like that's when I forgot what year it was, but that year he made it to the AFC Conference Championship. I believe it was against the Pats. That was a special run. Super special run, super special for everybody in Florida.
Jacksonville.
And it solidified him as a legend in Florida. So I think he's going to be my number 5, Blake Bortles.
All right, I went a little different. I'm gonna go Matt Prater, kicker. Matt Prater, and played longevity. Played for a while. Is he still playing? I think he is.
He might be still playing. That guy's insane, by the way.
My ball knowledge out there. Yeah, he still plays for the Cardinals.
Yeah, that's insane. He is, and legit, probably still one of the strongest legs in the league.
Yeah, absolutely.
Whenever I played with him in Madden, I would just hammer 60 yarders with him, to win the game or stuff like that. So much fun.
Madden thinks he's Justin Tucker, but
all right, and I guess we'll go in the same order that we were.
We'll go to 4. Yeah.
We go to 4. All right, yeah. I'm gonna go with Brandon Marshall, and some people think that's a little low on the list, but when you see the other 3 people I have, it'll make sense. But Brandon Marshall, personally, I think is one of the better receivers in the history of the NFL. I'm not saying top 10 or top 15 by any means, but he can most certainly make those top 50 lists if you put all the player talent together, plus the career achievements. He had a successful time, very successful time for the Bears. He had great success on my New York Jets. I'm such a Jets fan, diehard Jets fan. So he had some special moments, multiple time Pro Bowler. I think he's special, and of course, a legend in the Florida community once again. So I got him at number 4.
My number 4, I'm gonna go with Josh Sitton, former offensive guard for UCF, and a Green Bay Packer. Made 4 Pro Bowls, won a Super Bowl with the Packers. I feel like offensive linemen go under the radar a lot, and linemen in general do. And he's just consistency. He made my number 4.
Interesting. Okay, that'll be interesting later on. So I guess I'll start back off with number 3, and then I'm gonna have you start with number 2. But I'll start off with number 3. I chose Asante Samuel.
Okay.
I feel like Asante Samuel. He had some recent disagreements with cornerback Sauce Gardner, which went viral a couple months ago. But I still think Asante Samuel is one of the better corners to play in football. He had a nickname. I believe it was like the Pick Six God or whatever it was, like something ridiculous like that. But he was known for pick sixes. Whenever he caught that ball or an interception, he was taking it back to the house. Super Bowl champion with the Pats, I believe, and he had a ridiculous career for the Falcons. He's number 3.
So my number 3 is Brandon Marshall.
Okay.
In fact, I was watching one game earlier today where he had, I think, 19 catches in a game when he was on the Broncos.
Yeah,
and
that's a real record.
Yeah, freaking.
I forgot about the Broncos era.
Yeah, freaking insane. He had like 300, like over 300 yards in that game. Nuts.
He had like 3 different primes.
Yeah.
It was like almost every team he went to, he was dominant in some sort of fashion.
Yeah, he was consistent some would call UCF a wide receiver school because of the wide receivers we produce.
Hey, Javon has a chance. Javon has a good chance.
He does. Make
All
a
right,
good name for us.
Number 2.
All right, number 2, I have Asante Samuel right here.
Okay.
I think we might both have the same number 1. I think that one's pretty obvious. But Asante Samuel, consistency, beefing with Sauce Gardner, you can't pass him up. He's by far, I'd say, the best defensive player to ever come out of UCF in our history.
Okay, at number 2. It's going to get really controversial really fast, guys. Dante Culpepper.
Bro.
Yep. And I'll tell you
why.
All right. I believe it was 3 or 4 Pro Bowls that he had. And overall, one of the better quarterbacks of all time. Right? Like you can put him easily in the top 15 list. I'm not sure top 10. Top 15, yes. Dante Culpepper, no doubt, the second best player. It's just when you see who I have at number 1, and I'll go with number 1 right now because I know you have Dante Culpepper at number 1.
I do.
I have Josh Sitton.
Yeah, okay.
Because I really think he is one of the best guards of all time. And you could put him in top 7 guards.
Oh, yeah, 100%.
And I think offensive linemen are so underrated. I think it is a travesty how much they're underrated. Whenever somebody's in the draft and you draft an offensive lineman in the first round, like, ew, why'd you draft that guy? But then that guy ends up being your offensive lineman for the next 15 years, winning Pro Bowl after Pro Bowl. And I just think it's so underrated that so under the radar, like you mentioned before. I don't disagree with you having him at number 4. I just think it's not as flashy as a number 1 overall pick. But Josh Sitton, I just feel like with the Super Bowl champion he had, and I think it was like 5+ Pro Bowls, one of the best guards of all time to ever do it. I think he deserved the number 1 spot. Dante Culpepper, more flashy name, more legendary name, I guess. But in terms of career accomplishments, career achievements, Dante Culpepper's right there, but Josh Sitton's right here. No, more
I agree. I got Dante at 1. And that's pretty self-explanatory. Literally exactly what you said. But Dante also played at UCF, and at the time he was seen as a lesser program. And speaking of lesser programs, we have a scouting report. Our scouting report segment. So what this is I am taking a look at, we're taking a look at all the teams UCF plays in 2024 in football on our schedule, and then we're going to do a scouting report. Tell you about these teams, what to expect. So we're going to start with New Hampshire and Sam Houston State. So I do have some notes right here. I forgot to share them with Andrew, so I might have to carry this for us, but that's fine. So New Hampshire, they're in the FCS, and that's pretty much all I can say. They're, don't take them as a joke. Furman happened in 2015. They were FCS school and upset us at home. But I do have a fun fact from New Hampshire is that Ohio State head coach Ryan Day played for New Hampshire back in the day. I thought that was pretty neat fact. But anyways, Sam Houston State. So the Bearcats. So this one's a little bit more complicated here. So they moved up from the FCS in 2022 or 2023 last year. They won the FCS national championship in 2020, which is what got them into the FBS pretty much. They're in Conference USA, of course. They went 3-9 last year in Conference USA, but they lost 6 of their 9 games by 1 score or less. In fact, 2 of those games they lost went into double overtime. They also lost to BYU by only 14 points. They lost, BYU only beat Sam Houston State 14-0. And pretty much the general consensus is Sam Houston State is going to be better this year. So I don't think we should be concerned. I do think, though, they did take, BYU only beat them by 2 touchdowns. So that's probably a little bit concerning. BYU was a very good last year. They went 5-7. But at the same time, I feel like if Sam Houston State comes in here with someone to prove, it could be Furman 2.0. An embarrassing loss. So,
all right. Everything you just said, personally, I don't really care. I don't care at all. If Gus somehow loses any one of these 2 games, he is on the hot seat immediately, and fans will be calling for him to be fired immediately.
No, I agree.
There's no excuse to lose any of these 2 games. New Hampshire was 6-6, I believe, in the FCS, right?
Yeah.
And then Sam Houston was 3-9 in the FBS. There is absolutely no reason we should lose this game. There's fans predicting that they're going to win the Big 12 championship. If you lose a game to either of these 2 teams, as a matter of fact, only win by less than 2 touchdowns, you guys, UCF is not going to be the team we expected next year at all. So personally, both these teams get D-minuses from me. I could care less about these 2, and I think it's just going to be more of like a scouting report. And this words could come back on me. I can be looked like an idiot. Like, oh wow, look at this guy.
I'm going to clip this.
Yeah, clip it, please, because I will not be wrong. This team, I predict. We've seen it so many times. But if they only even win by 2 touchdowns, that's embarrassing in itself. I think they should blow them out each easily by 24 plus points.
Speaking of Gus, Sam Houston State has their defensive coordinator is only 29 years old. He's the youngest defensive coordinator in the FBS. He was a graduate assistant coach at Auburn during Gus Malzahn's tenure at Auburn. So this means that he will be a coach here under Gus Malzahn in just a few years. We know Gus Malzahn's coaching tree.
Yeah. Malzahn's coaching pull and recruiting pull for some reason is just ungodly levels. I don't know how he does it, but it's so much fun to watch. So yeah, I agree.
Yeah. AKA, if anyone ever coached with him at Auburn, he's probably going to bring him into UCF at some point. All right. So our next segment, you want to go and introduce us?
Yes, and Andrew? We move on to the fan of the week. We feel like this is a good opportunity to display a fan in the UCF community for either good reasons or bad reasons, just like Throwback. You will never know. Guess before we do it. This week, we have to just give it to the biggest positive we could. Emptiness for AKA Michael. And look at those gains. Look at them.
Man. It's insane. Oh, did he freeze? I think he did. Andrew, you okay? Did he freeze right out? I think he did.
Hello? Internet just cut out. No,
yeah, you froze for a second, man.
Okay. All right. Want to restart that?
Yeah, go ahead. All right, I'll remove it from the stage.
We're back. All right. Okay, cool. So this moves us on to our next topic. It is the UCF fan of the week, and this gives us the opportunity to display either a good or a bad fan, just like the Throwback. You can guess who before. You can guess if it's going to be good or bad. But I feel like no doubt this week is the positive, and it goes to Mr. Emptiness, a.k.a. Michael. Look at those gains.
Damn!
It makes me want to drive through a brick wall. Do you understand how, like, he's motivating me by that picture? Do you understand what that means?
I feel it right now. And, look, somehow his aura made the word GOAT right in front of him. So that's just how you know.
GOAT.
I didn't put that there. That was already there, man.
It's just there. But yeah, no, we have to give a huge shout out to Michael for his insanely good play-by-play tweets of the UCF baseball tournament. I wasn't even able to watch some, but I knew exactly what was going on in each game just by looking at his tweets. It's some of the best play-by-play reporting I've ever seen, even better than professionals who do it for a living. And
Absolutely.
he does it as a Sons of UCF adopted son. So
yeah, he writes so elegantly. Like I be reading his tweets and I'm just like, yeah, man, I don't know what this even means, but these baseball terms, that's what's up.
so excited for him to be on the Suns team, and
Yeah.
it's just like I'm with him at the games, and I see him like tweeting, and he's like literally like a robot tweeting it. Like he doesn't even have Twitter Blue, and he's not making any typos, no mistakes, and he gets it out way faster than I could ever imagine. And saying,
No, and
he
got me to watch baseball. He got me to watch it. Like I was never interested at all. I see him hyping it up, and I was like, you know what? I'll give it a shot. It's UCF, and here I am, watching baseball. I never thought I'd ever do it, but
So yeah, be sure to follow at Emptiness4 on Twitter or X, whatever people call it now, because he most certainly deserves it.
I think that might be all, Andrew. I think we got our coffees. We're finally done, and I think we finally been up all night. I'm feeling tired. Have you been up all night?
We've been up all night. I am certainly tired. Got a lot of good topics to talk about, a lot of fun things, great segments. So yes, that was the last episode of Up All Night. The first episode of Up All Night. Well, hopefully we're not ending that soon.
Yeah, I'm tired. You're tired. We've officially been up all night.